Morning, everyone. Welcome, glad you're here. Glad we're here together as community on this, the 5th day of February, as we gather together. Welcome to those of you who join us for the first time or the first few times. Welcome to those of you who have held this circle and join us for a countless number of times. Welcome to those of you who join us online this morning. All of us are important and all of us belong, so welcome to this place of spiritual exploration. Welcome to a community of diversity and acceptance where all ages, sizes, colors, cultures, where all sexualities and genders, religions and traditions, all or none belong. Welcome. So we open ourselves to compassion and deep wisdom, as we always do when we gather together as a spiritual community. That we're able to explore with one another what it means to live deeply, to love unconditionally, in ways that we need each other's help to do. And that's why we come together. If it were easy to do it on our own, we do it. It's not easy. We need each other. So on this particular Sunday, we gather to be together, and regardless of where we are, we take a moment to give thanks for the land, to recognize its long, long history. This land that was here long before any of us will be here long after. And in the meantime, we are its caretakers and stewards. And so we have learning to do around that. And much of our learning comes from the legacy of the indigenous peoples from whom we inherit the traditions and the care and the deep love of the land. And so in our Treaty 6 partnership, we honor the connections, the spirituality, the teachings, the healing ways of this land. And we seek always to be better treaty partners, to work in partnership with any and all to ensure that this land is the place that our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, with generations to come, might have this land to appreciate. The candles are lit. I'm grateful. We light this candle, this community candle, every time we gather. This is the same light that shines in our universe, at the center of our solar system and in the countless, countless stars strewn across the universe, in the celestial objects, ancient and near. This is the same light that shines in us, past and present, connecting us with those who have gone before, with those we grieve, with our ancestors. And this is the light that we share, the spark of connection we feel with each other. Every time we behold this light, may it remind us of those things, our sense of community with each other, not just here in this SSUC community near and far, but in the community we have with humanity. May it join us, may it connect us with all those who will carry our light forward. We are going to join together in a song in a moment, and before we do that, we engaged last week in a gathering that helped us celebrate our years of connection and legacy to our commitment to be an affirming congregation. And we spoke about our strengths, and in the intervening 7 days, so many of you have talked to me about all of the other strengths that we have in addition to that. And so as a tribute to that, why should our Strength to Strength gathering last week be the last? It should be the first of a series, right? So we'll gather together over the next few weeks to explore the strengths both in our lives and that we share as a community, and that will be the foundations upon which we build from strength to strength. So in that spirit, let's sing our way into community. Let's let it warm the spaces as music so often can do, and sing together. This is a time where we can share a few invitations with each other and talk a little bit about those things that are coming up in the life and the work of our community. It's just a matter of too many papers. I'll share a few with you. The first are really quick and really special. I know we all would like our 2022 tax receipts, and they are here this morning. Perhaps you received yours as you came in. If you donated to us within 2022, you'll have a tax receipt there. If you didn't catch it on the way in, catch it on the way out. You'll save us some postage as we don't have to mail those this week. And another administrative matter, some of you are responsible for various groups or committees or programs within the church, And we know that this is a very exciting time because you get to write a report. It sounds pretty dull, but in actuality, this is the way we can keep each other informed on not only what we've done, but what we have planned upcoming. And so if that applies to you, then please submit those relatively soon, by February 15th. And then we'll be ready to have our annual general meeting on the 5th of March. Something exciting coming up next week. We will honor and celebrate Black History Month next week with honoring that within our morning spiritual gathering, and then an invitation to you all to join us on a lunch and learn. And this means that, first of all, lunch. Notice that that word comes first. We're asking if you'd like to stay, please bring a bagged lunch. We are served out in terms of lunches. It would be difficult to do 3 kind of serving hospitality pieces 3 weeks in a row. So please bring a bagged lunch if you'd like to stay. Of course, if you forget, there will be some extra food here. No worries about that, but come bring your lunch. The next thing is learn. We are very excited to have 2 guest speakers join us after, they'll be here for the gathering and then speak to us during that lunch time. Guests from the University of Alberta who will speak to us about some of the prevailing issues in racial education, and it will be a fantastic short presentation and then a chance for some questions and answers. I encourage us all to bring a lunch and stay. It'll be an excellent opportunity. And then also real quick, February 17th, that's a Friday night at 6. Singles, young people, families of all shapes and sizes. If you need a games night, then this is your time. Come for dinner and games. Dinner will be provided. Bring a favorite board game or something you'd like to play. And we always find groups and ways to play some really great games and just hang out with each other. So please mark that on your calendar. May, I think you've got something to speak about this morning as well.
Good morning. I'm here to talk about the coldest night of the year, which is a Canada-wide fundraiser for people who have need. And in particular, we will be supporting the Bissell Centre. We are looking for 2 things. The first thing is team members to join us on the walk, which is a 2-kilometer walk downtown somewhere. I did know, but I can't remember, but I'll find out. On the 25th, which is a Saturday, which is only less than 3 weeks away. And so we need team members, because team members can do their own fundraising, but anybody who doesn't feel up to walking, you can just donate lots and lots and lots of money to this extraordinarily good cause. And it's terribly easy to do. And up there it says, you just go to CNOY, coldest night of the year, for those of us who are dyslexic and took a while. And you click on the donate button, you search for our team. You just type in SSUC. We are the Affirming Adventurers, but you don't need to put that in. Just SSUC, and then you can click a join team or donate, or both. And if you are not up to doing the kind of online thing, I will be in the foyer after the gathering, and I'll have a pledge form. So you can donate in any way you like, but you can also just pledge, and we can work out how the payment takes place later. So the event is the 25th. So we only have 3 weeks to fundraise. There are teams who've raised $34,000 already. So I think we're a bit behind the 8 ball because we've raised $300. So there's room to catch up, and I know we can do it. All right, thank you.
Sorry, Terry. I just want to add to that, May, don't be discouraged. We have done fundraisers in much shorter time than that and done it really well. So we can do it.
I'm sure we can. I'm Terry McDougall, and I'm here on behalf of the transition team. So those of you who've been coming regularly will know that the transition team is working together behind the scenes, and now we're coming to the forefront. We're going to present in our search for where we go from here. We're going to be talking to members of the congregation, to outside agencies, neighbors, and staff. And we want to know the answer this week to this question, and you might have seen it in the messenger. It is, what aspect of SSUC life and work is most important to you personally? What do you celebrate about this church? Now, we've created a special email address to which to respond. Some of us have tried the link that was in the messenger, and it malfunctioned. You can copy and paste to an email, to a fresh email, and respond to that. We are going to be doing this one question each week to the end of February. So this is the first one. We are going to be gathering responses to submit for our discussion on, to create questions for a discussion on March 12th. We're having a World Cafe, more on that later. But please mark March 12th on your calendars. Plan to attend. It's going to be here at the church. This is only one of the ways that we're going to be gathering information. We're going to be having an actual hard copy survey later on down the line. And it's just the beginning of a really fun and exciting prospect for SSUC of where we go from here. And from my perspective, I felt inclined to put my hand up to do some community outreach by way of surveying. And I'm looking for some enthusiastic assistance to help me with creating questions that we can present to community members, whether they be agencies, businesses, churches, schools, to see where we might meet needs for them and where we might partner with them down the road. So I will be here after the gathering. Please come and approach me and I can explain a little bit more in detail. But I look forward to working personally with some of you. Thanks.
Any other invitations or announcements that need to be spoken in the community today? No, hearing none. You're saying that's enough. Well, in that case, I want to invite anyone who would like to come to the carpet to please come to the front for a time for all ages this morning. Hello, good morning. Do any of you know this guy, Todd Parr, the books that all look like this? Have you seen these around? Yes. Yes. There's a lot of them. He's very good. Here's a tiny picture of him with his 3 dogs. He's one of my favorite children's book authors. Come on in. And I've read you a couple before, but this one is called Love the World. Have to take the dust jacket off because it's hard to hold. Here we go. Love the World. There's the world. Love your face. Love your space. You're right about that. I think that rhyme might continue through this book. Rhyming book. Here's person that has a treehouse space. It's kind of fun to love their space. Do you live in a treehouse? You don't have a treehouse? There's his doggy, yeah.
How can the dog climb the tree?
Well, that is a very good question. Sometimes dogs need help up to high places. Love your nose. I've got a lot of it to love, and I love it. Love your toes. Love your eyes, however many you have. Love your size. Love your walk. Can you walk like a crab?
Yes,
You try that later, I bet you can.
I can.
Love your walk. Love your talk. I love you. Love giving a hand. Who can read here? What does this sign say? Yeah. Yes. Food. Drive. Do you know what a food drive is? It's not food driving a car. Food drive is when you get together and you donate a bunch of food. Everyone comes, they put their food in a box, and you donate that food to people who need it. So this page was love giving a hand, and this one is love taking a stand. There's so much rhyming, I know. Taking a stand. Stand up for what you really feel strongly about. Yes, love yourself, love the world. Good reading. Love the bees and love the... Yes, you got it. And the owls. And the owls. Definitely love the owls. And look, oh my gosh, I've never seen a bat with rainbow polka dots on it before, but I'd love it. If I was going to meet a bat, that's the one I'd want. You're right. This isn't for real, this book, right?
Yeah, but I think it's a both book.
What do you mean, a both book? Oh, yes. So it's, yes, you're absolutely right. This is a book that is really true because the words are really important, but the pictures are just kind of goofy, right? Love your ears. Love your tears. It's okay to cry, right? Love your hair. Love your flair. Flair. What is flair? Well, you know, some sheep have really excellent style. They're just really happening. They're really cool. They have flair. Blair has flair. Love being kind. Love using your mind. What's this one? Love making art. Love sharing your heart. Oh, look at this. Cozying up together. Okay, you know what this one says. Love yourself. Love the world. Oh, there's a bit more. Love your giggle.
Love your squiggle.
Yes. Or wiggle, squiggle, whatever. Love your grin. Love your skin. Rainbow skin. Mm-hmm. Love the land.
Oh, a rainbow.
Love the sea.
And a dog.
Oh my gosh, well then wait till the next page. If they don't rhyme yet, they might. Love the land, love the sea, love the earth, love you and me. Phew, he rhymed it. Whew. It was a 2-page rhyme scheme, yes. Love yourself. Love the world. Okay, now there's a lot of words on this page, which I will read to you.
There's only words.
Only words and a few hearts. This one says, this is always the message from Todd Parr at the end. You will meet many people and go to many places. You can always find something to love about yourself, the world, and everyone in it. Love yourself and love the world. The end. Love, Todd. That one didn't rhyme. The reason why this is important, even though there's silly pictures, that's what makes it fun. The words of this book are so important because we have to start by loving ourselves, looking at all the ways that we are beautiful and unique and loving them. And that way we can love other people when they're different, when they're the same, when they look alike, when they don't, when they do things that we like to do, and when they do things that we don't like to do. We can love the world and the planet. So, about that, Kids Spirit is starting a new unit, a new time.
Love the world.
Yeah, pretty much. It's love the world. It's all the different ways you love. And every week you're going to talk about a different way that you have of loving. It's all about love. So, today's the first time, and you are invited to go if you'd like and find out all the different ways that you can love yourself and the world. Okay, thank you. Daisy and Ariane, are you there? Yes, you are. They're ready for you. One of our readings today comes from a poet named David White. And in just a moment, we have an audio of him reading his own poem entitled Just Beyond Yourself. I just wanted to introduce this for a moment because although the poem is fairly short, David in this recording does something really fascinating with his own words. He speaks them almost as if it were a spoken word performance. Well, it is a spoken word performance. For those of you familiar with the Christian tradition of Lectio Divina, kind of the way a text might be read again and again, it's not quite that, but it reminds me of that. It has us emphasizing certain parts. He emphasizes various phrases and various stanzas of his poem in a way that, if you let it sink in, it really does have a way of pervading you, his words. And so it's audio only, but I invite you to let these words enter you in whatever way they may this morning. I really built you up for this. And,
Just beyond.
Just Beyond Yourself, written and read by David White.
Just beyond yourself. It's where you need to be. Just beyond yourself. It's where you need to be. Half a step into self-forgetting and the rest restored by what you'll meet. Yeah. Just beyond yourself is where you need to be. Half a step into self-forgetting and the rest restored by what you'll meet. There's a road, always beckoning. There's a road, always beckoning. When you see the two sides of it closing together at that far horizon and deep in the foundations of your own heart at exactly the same time, that's how you know it's the way you have to go. That's how you know it's the road you have to follow. That's how you know. It's just beyond yourself. It's where you need to be. Just beyond yourself. It's where you need to be. Half a step into self-forgetting, half a step into self-forgetting, and the rest restored by what you'll meet. There's a road, always beckoning. When you see the two sides of it closing together at that far horizon, and deep in your own heart at exactly the same time, and deep, when you see the two sides of it closing together at that far horizon and deep in your own heart at exactly the same time, that's how you know it's the way you have to go. That's how you know it's the road you'll have to follow. That's how you know. It's just beyond yourself. It's where you have to go.
This really is the perfect time to be talking about our strengths. Bears repeating that we are in a place as a community where we might be in transition, but we don't need to reinvent ourselves. We could if we wanted. But we have the great privilege of knowing who we are, of being aware of our history, of building community based on values that connect us to humanity and to each other. And it's on those strengths that we build. So, like I mentioned, last week we celebrated our 24-year commitment to being inclusive, affirming community that moves from strength to strength as the healing place to safely celebrate diversity in all its forms. Well, today the strength I want to raise up to you is our commitment to those outside of our four walls. Our commitment to make a difference to those who need it most. To recognize that our own spiritual journey can't only be about our own well-being. That's a rather selfish endeavor. But that our well-being, our spiritual health, is about the well-being also of our neighbor, our communities, our relationships, our planet, all of that. So, want to invite you into some words of the Christian tradition, and it's okay if we say this every time we read one of these stories. It won't stop me, I'll say it again and again. What we're about to hear is not a historical story. This is a spiritual story, and that means that we need to read it or hear it, not for the details, not for the plot points, but to listen more deeply for meaning and purpose, for what wisdom is hiding, like a gem, buried under centuries of myth and tradition and memory. This is the way that we read spiritual texts. So in that spirit, here is the story as it's been titled, The Feeding of the 5,000. As evening approached, the disciples came to Jesus and said, "This is a remote place. It's already getting late. Send the crowds away so that they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." "We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them here to me," he said. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. And then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to all the people. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. So many people have labored over this story. The fact that 12 loaves and 2 fish could feed a whole crowd. Beside the fact that this is laboring over just the thing I was talking about, laboring over details and plot points, the very things that aren't the purpose of a spiritual story. Despite that, that whole bread and fish thing is not even the most interesting part of the story to me. Listen again to the tiny interaction between Jesus and the disciples. The disciples say, "Send the crowds away so that they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." And Jesus replies, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. Emphasis is mine. This is what the story is speaking to every reader, every listener, that when there is a need, it's human nature to say, not my problem. Not my people. Not getting involved. It is totally normal. If you think I'm saying that because it's a judgment, it is not. It is totally normal. I had a knock on the door yesterday of a repeat person. I'll let you imagine what organization they might belong to. I hid in a room that could not be seen from the front window. Not my proudest moment. I had other things to do. That's at least what I'll tell myself. I have no idea where in my notes I am now. I wasn't going to tell you that story. Oops. Right. So, all of us at some point or another come across a need and we say, no, can't do it. But alas, that doesn't build the world that we want for ourselves, for our friends, for the next generation. And this is what we do, I think, to move from our more natural, our baser instincts to our more higher thought through reactions. We bring to awareness, not with judgment, but with gentleness, that it's natural. It's natural for the oldest part of our brains. Science tells us this. This oldest part of our brain looks out for ourselves first. It looks out for me and mine in order to survive. And when we hear ourselves say something like, I don't have time for that, it's not my problem, someone else can do that. We can recognize that as a natural part of our human evolutionary past. We can bring it then to our more evolved prefrontal cortex that can decide, that can make different choices, intentional decisions. This is one of the ways we love ourselves. We don't beat ourselves up for those initial reactions. We're aware of them. We recognize why we're having them, where they come from, and we say, okay, I hear you, voice. And now I choose to place my own voice into the conversation. It's not all about me, it's about all of us together. They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat. Fred Rogers said it. We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say, it's not my child, not my community, not my world, not my problem. Then there are those who see the need and respond. I consider those people my heroes. When we do that, when we create a world where we look after more than just ourselves, we create a world where we look out for each other, where we all have enough, be it food, attention, care, acceptance, shelter, love. And the shift that happens isn't with a basket of bread and fish. The shift is not there. The shift is in us. The shift happens when we see that if my neighbor's hungry, I can feed them. And then the results look after themselves. And we all seek that shift within us. We all want to live with the value of awareness and responsibility and generosity that's involved with seeing a need and responding. Even if it's not our first inclination, doesn't matter. When we get there, we get there. So we too, as a community, have long been about that. From the early days of us wanting to provide a safe living space for young women coming to the city, supplying housing and shelter for those young women, which became Southern Homes, which became a legacy of helping families in need, which became a legacy of funding for emerging housing and social needs in our city that we participate in. When we consider those early inclinations for this community to be concerned with a heart for the seniors of our inner city, and that became Operation Friendship, and that even in the midst of what might be transition for them will become something else. We could name a whole bunch of things, and we couldn't possibly do it all, because there's our ongoing partnership with Bissell and the individuals and families who make use of their programs and services in Edmonton. Or likewise in Saskatoon, the work of integrated community ministries, in which our friends at SSUC Saskatoon have long been a partner with. And then there's our work with the Food Bank, or CHEW, that provides frontline support for 2S LGBTQ+ youth and young adults. Our advocacy for the planet in our partnering and becoming an Earth Charter community. Our support around the world, not just here locally, around the world with our support of mission and service funding. And so many more. We can't even name all of them. The fact is, one of our strengths is our ability to move from ourselves to others. It has to start here. It has to start with all the shifts that go on in each of us. But then we move from that beyond ourselves. We've done it for years and years, and we'll keep doing it together because that's who we are. And I love to imagine what we'll do next, because that's exciting. When an idea is just broached on Tuesday or Wednesday to participate and send a team into the Coldest Night of the Year campaign as a way to raise funds and awareness for our underhoused in Edmonton, and then by Sunday we're announcing it and getting pledges and doing it, and in 3 weeks we'll walk and we'll make a difference. That's exciting. It just happens because we happen. Or our young families and young couples and individuals who will make sandwiches in the month of March for the inner city pastoral ministry, which they've done for years and years and which we've supported for years. What will be the next thing we involve ourselves in? Because the shift within us is always happening, so will be the ideas for how we make a difference. Those will always be happening. And it always happens. Like me yesterday, hiding in the bedroom. We get tired. We get tired of the needs or answering the door. We see more needs than we can possibly tackle. And that's fair. It is a lot. And it's tempting to think, well, I'm just one person. Send them away. But we're not just one person, are we? That's the beauty of community. Built on solid and positive values, we're not just one. We are many, and we're growing. And that difference that we make grows and grows with it. So together, this strength enables us to refuse to settle. What a strength that is. A group of people that refuses to settle for just what is. Because I alone can't possibly make a difference. Well, we're not one person alone, and together we definitely can make a difference. Until all have what they need to fill them. We won't settle until that happens. Until the baskets are passed, and there's crumbs, and there's leftovers, and there's things to package up to send home with those who need a meal tomorrow or the next day. What a powerful strength. And one that we can move from strength to strength as we evolve and find new ways to make a meaningful difference in the world. And so thank you, David White, for the poem that he has written, because we, with him, hear his words again when we ask, where do we have to go? Just beyond yourself. It's where you need to be. Half a step into self-forgetting, and the rest restored by what you'll meet. Just beyond yourself. It's where you need to be. And where we will be together. So let's pray words and intentions that help us live more closely as we pray. We embrace the sacredness of all life as we work toward the vision of the world as it could be. We seek an awareness of the very moment, ensuring that our neighbor has enough for today. We pray that we might let go of all that clings as guilt and embrace relationships of trust. May we offer and receive forgiveness as a way to freedom. We commit to living examined lives, inspired to find meaning in our living and working to transform every challenge into an opportunity for all to grow and thrive. May it ever be so. And in the spirit of love, loving ourselves and loving the world, we take this light with us, inspired by its connective ways, that it unites us and sends us out with the strength of community. May we go with that strength.